You shout it out, but I can't hear a word you say. I'm talking loud, not saying much.
So, ang ating pong power sector ay ginaguide ng EPIRA, no? So, Electric Power Industry Reform Act. Dito po sa batas na to, ang naging policy ng gobyerno ay i-privatize ang power generation. Meaning, dati NPC lahat ang may-ari ng planta, ngayon binenta yun sa private sector. Through PISAM. And may provision pa doon na hindi na pwede ang gobyerno mag-invest sa power generation kasi private na dapat eh. So, pero andun pa rin ng gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng BUE na titingnan na may supply. So, magpo-coordinate siya among different offices na, kasi dati yung NPC, isa lang. Ngayon, merong kang sa generation, sa transmission, distribution. So, ang dami-dami na niya. So, meron ka na ngayong marinig na PISAM, Transco, National Grid, yung mga ganun. So, marami na siyang na-break up na ang NPC. So, ito yung tawag natin dyan, Energy Family, kino-coordinate pa rin ng Department of Energy. And, ang talagang pinaka-regulator ng power industry is Energy Regulatory Commission. Pero, more sila on the rates. Kasi, di ba, pag sinabi natin regulasyon, ang talagang pinaka-ano natin is magkano ba?
Do they have date?
Yes, kasi sila yung, una-una, sila yung nag-approve kung sino talaga yung planta at anong rate dapat ang pwedeng lang singilin. So, sa ang ERC ngayon, meron silang rates para sa iba-ibang fuel na ginagamit for generation. Siya din yung nag-approve ng magkano ba yung dapat isingil ng transmission and distribution like Meralco. Diba? Si Meralco nanghihingi din para sa sarili niya. So, ganito ang nangyari. Lahat ng investment for power generation, private sector ang gumagawa. And then, meron din tayong mga batas na nag-guide further kung ano yung direction na gagawin natin. Like, meron tayong renewable energy law. No, na sinasabi na, ikapin natin na sariling atin at mas malinis na fuel ang gagamitin. Okay, so going back to the EPIRA, yung Section 71, meron din naman provision na while binigay mo na sa private sector yung generation, meron pa rin pagkakataon ng gobyerno makikialam. So yun yung crisis condition. Yun ngayon, doon naman sa Section 71, kung pwede kong basahin, ang title nito ay Electric Power Crisis Provision. Upon the determination by the President of the Philippines of an imminent shortage of the supplied electricity, Congress may authorize through a joint resolution the establishment of additional generating capacity under such terms and conditions as it may approve.
Emergency power, okay.
Yun yung emergency power. Pero, Kongreso pa rin ang magde-decide kung kailan, gaano kadami, gaano katagal. So, in fact, ang gusto ko lang iparating na even without looking at this provision na sabi natin emergency power, patuloy na nag-uusap ang DOE with the JCPC. Ito yung Joint Congressional Power Commission that is overseeing the implementation of EPIRA. So, nag-uusap yan. Kaya ang gusto namin emphasize, hindi lang dahil nanghihingi si Secretary ng Emergency Power ay wala kami ginagawang preparation. So, yun ang gusto namin highlight. With or without emergency power, continuous yung pag-uusap, paghahanda para sa ating supply requirement. Now, ang tanong, bakit umaabot tayo sa ganito? Parang bakit tayo nagkakaproblema? Well, unang-una, alalahanin natin, nagkaroon ng magandang economic growth ang Pilipinas. So, with economic development, economic activity, tumataas din ang requirement ng power, ng energy. So, ngayon, naghahabol tayo. Siguro yung, nabanggit ko na kanina yung renewable, for 2014, meron tayong inaasahan na mga more than 300 megawatts additional capacity more than half of this is renewables. Oo, so meron tayong 18 megawatts sa North Wind, pagdagdag doon sa Ilocos. Meron tayong sa Bataan na biomass. Meron tayong, mga biomass plant, sorry. Ang coal pala talaga dito ay 300 megawatts. Almost.
Kailan mo na?
2014, dapat ano na to. May exact paper tayo. Siguro,
Ay, wala ba soft copy? Pwede ba kami makahinig?
Ito yung schedule niya sa August, bali this month, no? Yung North Wind, 18 megawatts papasok. Sa October, 135 megawatts na, ba to? Coal. Sa November, 12 megawatts na biomass. Sa December, 150 megawatts na coal and another 7.5 megawatts Bataan. So, mapansin nyo, ang renewables, kahit push natin, maliliit ang capacity. Kaysa sa base load plants na coal. So, parang ang mabilis or ang malaki talaga is itong coal, pwede rin malaki ng konti geothermal, hydro, at natural gas.
Isaac, bakit it takes you so long bago magtayo ng mga power plants since Pinoy administration started 2010? Kailan kayo nag-start na mag-bid for a new power plant? Wala ba kayong nakikita na by 2016 o by 2015 magkakaroon ng shortage ng power, which is happening now, especially in Mindanao, nagkakaroon ng grabing rotational brownout at
Actually, continuous naman yung pagpasok ng mga plants. Hindi, ever since, kahit doon sa panahon pa rin ng past administration, continuous naman yung pagde-develop ng power plants. Yun nga lang, ang pinakaunang dito, naging sabihin na natin, mahirap, wala ang control ang gobyerno kung kailan mag-apply si private sector. Kasi private sector
Na-resolve na ba yung cross-ownership? Kasi minsan yung power producer at saka power operatives, yung isa owner nito, yung isa owner nito. So yun yung problema.
Good question.
Actually, allowed siya ng ipira. Walang limit. May limit na, pero, doon sa sales nila, may limit. Pero, allowed kasi siya ng batas. So, actually, it would really depend on the legislators kung ano yung gusto ba nilang i-address ito, ano yung...
Kasi there was a time that Congressman Benny Bardoni asked me about this one. Kung na-resolve na nga rin, sabi ko, tingin ko, wala pa. Because, ang problema ko kasi sa Mindanao, iba yung distributor, iba yung nagmamarket, iba yung pinanggagalingan. Pero yung mga incorporators, may para bang halo-halo na dinampot dito, nilagay rito, pagkatapos yung interest nila as a businessman, hindi mo maalis, kaya naiikot daw yung mga taga-Mindanao.
Pero ngayon, mayroong create si Secretary, Interagency Multi-Sectoral Task Force, para pag-usapan itong buong sektor, ano ba yung mga issues. And kasama na doon, supposedly, ang bottom line is paano natin ma-address yung presyohan. Kasi may kanya-kanyang interest
Do you have recommendatory power para sa Congress na whether to amend the particular provision of Utira Law, which is Section 71?
Actually, marami ng bills na pinafile ng iba-ibang congressman tungkol doon. Ang role ng DOE is kung ipatawag kami para magbigay ng mga information, yun ang gagawin namin. Kasi medyo siguro, DOE at ERC, ang pinakakompleto ng data. But the decision will be coming from Congress. At saka meron naman tayong JCPC. Doon lumalabas yung mga issues, mga ano ba yung dapat i-address. So from there, makikita nila kung may mga dapat bang i-adjust na provision. So magagaling doon sa mga members. And hindi member.
Having said that, yung bang ipila, nakita nyo na effective, mukhang mukhang iba yung sinasabi nyo doon sa parang nakukontra nyo ngayon ng law. So, ano nakikita nyo as
Alam mo, malaking problema natin dito, Kongreso. Sila kasi implementor lang Yan ang masakit na problema ng mga government agencies natin. nadidiktahan sila ng mga congressman na gumagawa ng for the fun of it ng mga policy na nagpapahirap sa atin. At tayo mismo pinapag-away-away, nagkakandalay-silay ang bawat ahensya dahil sa kalokohan itong mga congressman.
Actually, sa IPIRA, mayroon naman mandato ang DOE na specific. Ito po ay nasa section 37. Ang sinasabi po naman dato ng DOE, dapat po mayroon tayo dalawang plano. Philippine Energy Plan, where even your sector is part of it, hindi lang jet power, electricity. Tapos yung Power Development Plan. Ang tanong po namin, ito pong inabutan natin na crisis, hindi ba ito na-anticipate sa Philippine Energy Plan at saka sa Power Development Plan? Pangalawa po, yung PDP, yung Power Development Plan, kasi ang function ho ng DOE in managing generation, managing quote-unquote, is to propose and lay down policies that will lure generation investors into the country. So, dapat ho, nakapaloob yun sa PDP. Kung nandito po tayo sa crisis ngayon, is that an indictment of your Philippine Energy Plan, or is that a shortcoming or a failure of the Power Development Plan?
Meron po tayong dalawa, yung Philippine Energy Plan at sa Power Development Plan, annually nire-review, kinakonsult sa sector. And in fact, sa Power Development Plan, nag-umpisa kami ng Mindanao, kasi di ba Mindanao? Kasi dati national lang eh. Pag national mo, pwedeng ma-overlook mo yung requirement sa isang specific area. So, nag-umpisa na kami ng Mindanao Development Plan para mas ma-zoom in. Kasi siya yung pinaka-naging may problema because very dependent siya sa hydro na naging dependent on the weather and the level ng water. Ngayon, nandun yun sa plano, nakikita based on ano yung mga, kasi kung titingnan mo dun sa power, meron tayong nakikita na ano ba yung expected demand, projected demand based on ano yung development ng bansa, and then ano yung natin expected or projected na supply. Dun sa supply, meron tayong committed. Kasi yun na nga, may mga nag-a-apply naman tayo ng additional plan. Meron din tayong indicative. Yung parang sabi nila, mukhang gusto nilang pumasok, pero hindi pa nag-umpisa sila dun sa mga requirements. No? Ang committed, medyo nag-umpisa na silang i-comply yung mga requirements. And then, meron pa rin tayong iba pa na projected lang talaga na wala pang nag-indicate ng interest. Ang problema natin, yun na nga, we're dependent kung ano yung gusto nila. Now, on this question of how do we lure investors, we have the law. We have the, siguro bago ang lahat, si Secretary Pitilla has required na following yung good governance na trust, dapat mabilis yung aksyon, dapat well coordinated, even at the onset. Kasi marami tayong mga planta naman, example coal, kasi siya yung base load, no? Marami sa coal ang medyo hindi gusto ng tao kasi hindi nga siya malinis, no? Meron tayong trust sa cleaner air. So, lahat ng project ang sinasabi ng Secretary at the onset, pag once nalaman nila merong interesado magtayo nito, i-involve na natin ang local government para meron silang ownership sa project. Agahan yung consultation coordination. Now, pagdating sa renewable, kasi may batas na tayo, meron tayong mga ginagawang mechanism para ma-encourage na yung gusto mag-invest para dito. So, meron tayong yung isa is yung FIT, no? Feed-in tariff. Kasi, generally, ang renewable, sabihin na natin mas mahal kaysa conventional. Kasi, bago sila maliliit, intermittent, hindi mo siya magamit the whole year. So, meron siyang dapat rates na kanya-kanya. And if you know, CERC naglabas na, no? Iba-iba for solar, biomass, for wind. So, meron yan. Kasi, ang importante, ang investors, ang tinitingnan nila mabawi ko ba kung mag-invest ako. So, tayo naman, ang general trust ng gobyerno is walang subsidy. Kasi yun yung privatization mo eh. Hindi mo ma-privatize kung magsa-subsidize ka. So, yun, tapos net metering, tapos meron tayong renewable portfolio standard. So, meron mga mechanisms na DOE ang sabihin na nating develop para dun sa mga guidelines. So, meron tayo, kaya lang alam, dependent tayo sa private sector kung kailan sila.
Ibig ko pong sabihin, unang-una, kung i-analyze natin yung power crisis, we should analyze it in the context of the energy plan and the development plan. I do not hear the Department of Energy postulating it or premising it on the energy plan and the power development plan. Pangalawa po, doon sa power development plan, ano ang policy issues that you had addressed, that you had resolved, and you had put in as a recommendation to bring in generation investments? I'll give you an example. Tayo po ay pinakamahal ang kuryente sa Asia, one of the highest in the world. If you look at it from a market point of view, dapat attractive tayo to the market. But why is it na walang generation investment na pumapasok? Maybe there is a distortion in prices. Kung tingnan nyo po yung price structure ng Manila, halimbawa, if it is 11 pesos per kilowatt hour or 10 pesos, kalahati noon napupunta sa generation as a distribution na excessive yung cost. So, hindi masyadong attractive yung generation cost. In other words, in the whole policy plate or the whole policy basket, tingnan nyo yung entirety and then address it. Pangalawa po, perennial question ng sinasabi ng mga investors, masyado tayong bureaucratic. There are too many requirements, right of way is a problem, site acquisition is a problem, so specific na problem yun. So ang question ko, in your power development plan, did you address it? Para at least to pave the way na pumasok yung investment. Because if we do not see that, then I do not see Department of Energy fulfilling its mandate. And then, puntahan ko lang po yung renewable energy. Fine, it is a very beautiful statement to the environmentalist. Pero ang feed-in tariff po, ang pinakamababa is 9 pesos and 15 centavos. I think that is solar. Tapos, ang current generation natin is 515. There's a difference of 4 pesos. Are you telling the public directly and forthrightly and honestly the cost that they have to pay? Kasi ang renewable energy po is a new young technology. Bakit tayo ang magsa-subsidize ng development ng technology na yun when we are not in a position to subsidize it? Bakit hindi nyo hintayin mag-mature yung technology na yan? If Germany is predominantly solar, hintayin natin maging mature ang technology na aabot doon sa level ng 5 pesos natin. Bakit tayo magsa-subsidize? In fact, if your feed-in tariff is 9.15 and the real production cost of solar is 15 pesos, who is going to pay the difference between 15 and 16 and the 9.15 and the difference between the 5 which is coal? These are a whole basket of issues na kailangan dapat naman may openness ang Department of Energy in managing this. And let me say it, the Department of Energy has the mandate to manage the industry through the PEP for the Philippine Energy Plan and the PDP as a persuasive tool for influencing investment. Section 71 is an extreme provision that should be used only if PDP and PEP fail. I have not heard the Department of Energy talk about PEP.
Sa una, sagutin ko, yung PEP at saka PDP, yun ang naging dahilan bakit nakikita natin na manipis ang supply, na may shortage na eminent by summer. Kasi pag summer, maximum yung demand mo, and then pwedeng kulang tayo sa tubig. Diba? So, yung demand mo pataas, yung supply mo mababawasan kasi konti ang tubig. Now, Luzon is also dependent on water, diba? So, yun yung, because of the PEP and the PDP, nakikita natin na may ganong possible na mangyayari. And then, dun sa PDP, nakikita natin ano ba yung requirements, vis-a-vis, ano ba yung mga incoming, yung sinabi ko mga indicative projects, mga committed projects, kailan sa estimated na makikita. So, meron akong hawak dito ngayon, pwede namin itong share sa kanila, but anyway, marami din kaming information sa website namin. So, dito, Luzon Supply Demand Outlook, meron kami 2014, 15, 16, 17, based on mga committed projects. Okay, so, Yung pangalawang issue na renewable, bakit natin ipupursu? Well, unang-una, ang DOE is an implementing agency. Naglabas ang Kongreso natin ng batas ng renewable energy. Now, so kailangan i-implement natin yon. And meron din tayong international siguro push na mag-renewable. Merong cleaner air kasi sobra-sobra na yung global warming because masyado tayong dependent sa mga fossil fuels like coal and yung oil. Kaya nga, umalis tayo doon. Dito sa Luzon, ang ating natural gas, sinubstitute na natin sa mga Sukat, Malaya, Tege, na mga power plants, 40% na ang natural gas. While it is also a fossil fuel, pinakamalinis siya. So, pwede siyang malaking planta. Kaya 40% sa Luzon supplied ngayon nung galing sa Malampaya gas natin. So, indigenous din yun. Yung you mentioned about Germany, na sila yung pinakamaganda, advanced on solar. Alam nyo, nung time ni Secretary Almendras, nung lumabas na yung Renewable Energy Law, no? Ang gusto nilang rate ng solar was 22 pesos per kilowatt. Sabi ni Secretary Almendras, teka muna, nag-i-improve ang technology, magmumura yan. May mga naririnig na ako na mas mababa. Kaya nga, if you recall, si Secretary Almendras nabansagan noon na anti-solar. Kasi ayaw niyang ipalabas yung fit rate. Sino naman ang magbabayad ng 22? Sige nga. Kung di ba kakainin?
He was targeting the Turkey solar producers, solar power producers in Turkey. That time. In Turkey. Yeah.
Pero basta yung pababa yung presyo, kaya nga tayo umabot sa 9. So yung 9, siya na yung nakakompute ng ERC na reasonable rate because you have to take note na that rate will be good for a number of years. Hindi siya ating ngayon lang. So, pwedeng at the onset, mas mahal yung actual cost, pero over time, mababawi na niya. Kasi pagdating sa mga karamihan ng renewable, and especially solar, ang cost mo is upfront. Kasi wala ka ng cost sa fuel eh. Pag natayo mo yung planta, araw na yung antayin mo, hindi mo nababayaran. Unlike coal, may cost ka pag tayo ng planta, may cost ka sa coal. Pagdating sa mga oil, so ang renewables, mahal siya sa umpisa. Kaya, very important yung technology na medyo advanced na, mas mura na. But I would like to give credit naman dun sa mga nag-isip dun sa, kasi kung binigay yung 22, ano kaya tayo kagulo? Nagwawala na tayo sa 9. No? Pero kung maalala nyo, si Secretary Pitilla initially announced a 50 megawatts na solar. Tapos sinabi niya, okay, 500 na. Kasi marami nang pinapasok na, at even dun sa 968, may mga pumapasok na investors. Ibig sabihin, kaya nila. No? So, in fact, meron tayong medyo malaki sa Negros, ilan yun? 100 plus 20 megawatts na mismo si Presidente ang nag-inaugurate. So, ibig sabihin, marami pumapasok ng coal, na solar plant. Ibig sabihin, yung 968 is makakayanan nila. And in fact, doon sa 500, meron tayong condition. Kasi inatake na naman ng DOE doon. Yung 50 na 968, dinagdagan mo pa ng 450. Ang mahal-mahal niya, no? Ang sinabi doon sa ang tinitingnan ngayon dyan is, the 968 rate will be up to plants that can be established or put up and operate by March 2015. Pagka 2016, pwedeng bago na yung rate. Nag-review na si ERC ng lower rate kasi as the technology improves, nagiging mas mura.
Bakit ma'am kailangan tayo natin na mag-improve ang technology pero meron naman tayong talagang alternative na pwedeng i-push ng BOE? Like yung nuclear na ang laki ng nakaburahan. And pangalawa yung deuterium na sa computation, piso lang. Piso per kilowatt-hour ang ibabayad ng consumer. Bakit hindi ito talaga? Ito, sigurado na tested na worldwide.
Pulangi lang sa Mindanao, it is operating at a very dismal capacity kasi hindi na maintain. Hydro yun, tubig lang yun. At in place na yun, wala ka ng front-end cost dahil installed na yun. Ang kailangan nandun, maintenance, desiltation, and proper use. Kaya tuloy yung mga tao sa Mindanao, and I noticed that you mentioned your Mindanao plan, it becomes a special problem because people in Mindanao, including all the congressmen, feel that there is a conspiracy against them to run down the hydro plant so they can sell it as a fire sale, and once it is privatized, like the experience in Luzon, the generation rates will go hit the roof and beyond the ceiling. Ang mangyayari kasi dyan, the 54% that the hydro in Agos Pulangi accounts for the overall generation mix in Mindanao stabilizes the prices. Once you offset that with the 3 or 4 coal plants that are coming in next year, the overall generation rate in Mindanao is going to change dramatically. It's going to be about 46% hydro, and the rate is going to go very high. That is why there is a special problem policy-wise as far as Mindanao is concerned. The only reason why Agos Pulangi was not privatized because IPIRA itself said within the first 10 years it cannot be privatized. But the 10 years, the 10-year period lapsed in 2011. They are now hanging by a thread, and if the thread snaps, they're going to pay Luzon rate. That is why people in Mindanao are up in arms. Unless the Department of Energy comes in, exercises its policy oversight in favor of the consumers in Mindanao, they're in for a lot of trouble. So I think they're looking up to you guys for some support.
Despite all of this, no, merong ginawang kabutihan ang DOE. Recently, I can vouch for it. Tinuloy nila through the help of MVP yung deal sa Sampaguita oil field. That was the reason tumahimik na yung China. Hindi nyo ba napansin? Ang nag-agitate sa Diageo, puro sa galing sa West. Pero ang China tahimik na ngayon. Malaking bagay yun. Dahil yung timetable na nag-take over tayo na-abort. So, malaking bagay yung ginawa ninyo. Kailan ba nyo umpisahan yung Sampaguita oil field?
We're talking of a concept awarded. Tama pala po.
Nag-expertise mo pasukin natin yan.
Hindi naman sagutin ko, hindi ko na yan. Okay. Yung,
Hindi na, na-explain na ni Butch
One last point na lang po before you answer on the emergency powers. And I think people should know this. Ang binanggit po ni Secretary Pitilla is a bunker fuel generation plant na i-install niya dahil mabilis ang startup and it can respond immediately. Sinasite niya yung sa Japan. That is run by bunker fuel that's about 15 pesos per kilowatt hour. Who is going to pay the price? Is it going to be Malampaya Fund to answer for it? I understand the advantage in it. It is a very quick startup. It can be embedded. Wala kang problema sa transmission. Diretso yan mag-feed. But the cost is a little bit high. At pangalawa, it is misleading to position it as a base load plant. You cannot have a bunker fuel generation plant as a base load plant. Yun ang problema.
doon sa yung emergency power, kasi nakikita na talaga na magkakaroon ng kakulangan sa kuryente by summer of next year. Yung hydro na nabanggit nyo, totoo naman Mindanao enjoyed a very low rate kasi libre ang tubig nung operating pa lahat ng hydro plant. But nakita naman natin na hindi pwedeng asahan lang yung tubig because of climate change. Ang daming pangyayari na biglang na plus deforestation, plus sabihin na natin, medyo kailangang i-rehabilitate yung planta para mag-operate ng full capacity. Ngayon, dito sa issue ng Agos Pulangi na privatization, meron ng mga nagkakaroon ng interest kasi bago nga lang yan pwedeng i-open up for privatization. But may isang issue dyan na dapat pag-usapan. Isa lang yung water source mo. Marami kang planta. Sino may right sa tubig? Kailangan i-settle yung dito lang problema. Ang gobyerno may-ari ng tubig, gobyerno may-ari ng planta. Ngayon, pag i-privatize mo yan, paano ko makasiguro ako, investor, na itong planta ko, nakuha ko, halimbawa, anong Pulangi number yan, na yung tubig magagamit. Kung baka harangan nung nakakuha ng planta luban ng taas, that's one of the issues that is being resolved right now. And Congress is looking at this, no? Siyempre, kasi DCPC oversight sila eh. Oversight sila. Sila yung
Change na naman tayo niya.
ano kami, we're implementers of policies na sila talaga. We will be able to recommend something. Pwedeng may nakikita kami mga ganitong magandang solusyon, but the final say is there. Okay. So,
Natatawa tayo siya sa kanya.
wala tayong magawa eh. May separation of powers tayo.
Walang
Diba?
end
Yun ang
goal
sinabi
naman
ng
yun.
Constitution yan. So kami ay sumusunod lang kung anong talagang policy direction. May dagdag ko pa, yung emergency power na yon na hinihingi or yung nakikitang solusyon ni Secretary is talaga namang yun ang pinakamabilis na hawakan mo na pwedeng hindi permanent. Kasi wala namang balak na tatakbuhin siya ng tuloy-tuloy kasi we're expecting more power plants to come in. Sa 2015, meron tayong additional capacity expected to be on stream, 658. Pero yung iba nun, toward the later part of the year na siya lalabas. So, by summer, meron tayong nakikita kakulangan ng mga about 200, pero to provide additional, dapat may backup ka rin eh, na parang may reserve ka. So, 600 yung nakikita na So, February, March, April, May, June, August, September, October, November. Merong mga papasok na power plants next year. But by summer, may nakikita pa na may kakulangan na posible. Ngayon, ang issue, ito talaga ang mahirap sa energy, sabihin ko na in general. Ano ba ang may priority sa'yo? Supply o presyo? Environment or self-sufficiency?
Angel and Demon operation eh.
Dapat yan, may balanse, no? Kasi ang kitang sinasabi, pag wala kang kuryente, mas mahal yun. Kasi paano yung manufacturing, yung mga businesses. And in fact, ang nakikita na next year, pwede naman talagang halos eksakto lang yung supply sa demand. Pero, pag medyo may konting problema dyan, bigla kang mawawalan ng power, yung mga industries, marami dyan ang reklamo nila, ang hirap mag-rotating brownout, ang hirap biglang mag-trip kasi masisira yung produkto ko.
Jensen, kamukha yung mga tuna.
Di ba? So, yun yung ano ba ang priority natin? At some point, parang, di ba rin ang mahal, pwede din, no? Di ba rin ang mahal basta meron, kaysa mura na wala. Pero talagang balance is
Mahirap po mo. Masama nito parang nagpa-blackmail pa. Yan ang masakit doon eh.
Ayun na.
So, jump in again. I thought I had said my last piece, but I just am concerned why it has to be an either-or proposition as far as price and supply is concerned and as far as service and convenience is concerned. Bakit ho kailangan maging either-or instead of and-or proposition? Kasi the way you framed it, sabi mo, supply or may presyo. Tingnan nyo lang po, I'll give you a specific example. Bago po yung IPIRA, ang distribution supply charge ng Meralco was 76 centavos per kilowatt hour. Pumasok po yung IPIRA, ang distribution supply charge ng Meralco is now 164 pesos per kilowatt hour. Ang kita ho ng Meralco before IPIRA ay 2.7 billion per year. Ang net earnings ho ng Meralco ngayon is 18.6 billion pesos per year. Those things happen because the law allows it, the regulators are sleeping on the job, DOE is not standing up for the consumers. So,
Mayroon lang constraint on, mayroong limit on what we can do, how much we can do. Lang kita, nagsabi ko or, pero sinabi ko, balanse ang kailangan natin.
ma'am, sabi ho
Hindi
ni,
yun or,
Ma'am, sabi ho ni-
supply or price, balanse. Yun yung mahirap hanapin, yung balanse na yun.
Ma'am-
Because we cannot disregard one or the other.
sabi ho ni Justice Renato Puno, in the case where Meralco was ordered to refund us 30 billion pesos, there is no known calculus for determining and resolving the interest between the consumers and the utilities. But even if there is no known calculus, you cannot take it from us to hope that at least the regulators and the government we stand up for us. Ma'am, every year under IPIRA, you are supposed to submit to Congress your PEP and your PDP every September.
We do.
Yeah, you're supposed to submit that every September. That is your policy tool for telling Congress na ito yung dapat yung gawin, that it talk about what the problems are and what are the policies that will address those problems.
Pwede bang mag-cite ng example on how the DOE, Secretary Petilla in particular, stood for the consumers? If you recall November, magkano ba yung dapat rate na sinabi? Eh di ba tumayo si Secretary Petilla doon, sinabi buksan yung titignan sa mga planta, o anong rate ang, nasuspend yung pag-charge nila ng rate. It's because of Secretary Petilla.
No, it's because of the Supreme Court.
And, pero sino nag-umpisa? Yung nabanggit ko kanina that there is an interagency multi-sectoral committee. In fact, they're meeting this afternoon para titingnan nga yung ano ba talaga itong rates na to? Is Meralco talaga abusing its may damit ba si ganito? Kaya nga, the Secretary forming the group.
Have you invited consumers?
Oh, yes. Hindi naman kasi pwedeng lahat ng consumers. In fact, I think 3 consumer groups are there. Yung mga recognized ng DTI.
Silence.
Meron tatlong groups ng hindi, sino nga, specific sa consumer. Parang national consumer, something, FCP, NCI, parang gano'n consumer groups to kasi hindi naman pwedeng lahat, walang mangyayari pag lahat magsasalita. May representations lang tayo. Basta ang alam ko, nung first meeting na inatinan ko, may 3 representatives of the consumer group. Pero consumer, lahat ng sektor meron doon. Kaya nga, ang tanong nga doon, paano to mag-work efficiently when may kanya-kanyang issue at kakasabay-sabay magsalita, walang mangyari. But they're talagang organizing this seriously kasi nga, kailangan matingnan natin itong lahat ng issues na to. Kami sa DOE consumers din po kami. Wala kami special rate, wala kami special na kuryente pagdating nung brownout. Pare-pareho po tayo, so hindi po kami pwedeng magpabaya.
Bakit hindi nyo kinukonsideran doon?
Nuclear is still part of the option, no? Ng ating energy mix. In fact, meron na kami ginagawang mga studies with Korea kasi itong ating nuclear power plant dyan, may operating ngayon na kasabay na Korean plant. By this is Westinghouse, may Korean facility. In fact, fortunately, one of my punta rin ako doon sa Korean facility na yon, which lumabas na itong ating Bataan nuclear power plant sana has better safety facilities than the Korean equivalent. So, initin na natin, been years and years and years na hindi siya nagamit. So, ano ba yung kailangan to rehabilitate it, no? So, meron kang kailangan. Unang, isang factor doon na dapat natin makonsider is, sa tagal na nito, wala nang mga bagong planta na pareho. So, the spare parts, some of the parts may not be there anymore. Pero meron pa rin siyang chance to rehabilitate. Number 1. So, ano ba yung stando nito? Number 2. Ano bang regulations ngayon ng international
Yun ang pinaka-importante.
Atomic Energy Agency?
Yun ang pinaka-importante.
We have been coordinating with them. Matagal na kasi even before yung Fukushima incident. Siyempre, nung na Fukushima, Japan is very, very strict on safety. Yet, nag-suffer sila. Pero lumalabas ngayon, hindi naman dahil sa earthquake, but dahil dun sa
Radiation.
yung
Fukushima.
There was a leak.
Pero
siya because also tsunami, no? But anyway, tinitingnan pa rin yan. Hindi naman sa close ang namin, but ang dami natin dapat considerations because may mga international regulations.
Pero ma'am,
Especially after
what happened to Japan, you cannot compare sa BNPP. Ang BNPP is on the mountain.
Oo.
Pero nasa Japan, nakasubmerge sa tubig yun.
But
This
because of
ang
that,
technology nun, way back 1971 pa, samantalang doon NDPP is 80s na.
So, but because of that incident, nagkahigpitan ngayon ng regulations, and we have to deal with that. But the thing is, tayo ang planta.
Who will run it?
But, yes, thank you. But we need to capacitate people who will run it kasi
20 years of training.
yung BNPP, may mga tao na tayong na-train for that. Pero nasaan na sila ngayon? O, yung iba patay na, yung iba matanda na, yung iba kung saan-saan na sila nagtatrabaho. So whatever the new technology will be, then we have to capacitate people. So una, mamili ka ng technology bago mo sila ma-train. So it would take some time. And actually, open tayo dyan because our neighbors are looking at nuclear power plants. So ang takot natin is hypercarization, kung sumabog yung mga planta nila, damay tayo. Bakit tayo magkuklose ng doors natin on having a cheaper power? So it's really part of the DOE option, but we have to look into the different considerations para dyan. Kasama niya, hindi siya burado. Kaya lang hindi kami makapaglagay pa ng specific year because marami tayong ginawang study para dyan. And in fact, IEA, nagpunta na dito sa atin para to really assess the plan.
Okay, with that,
Tayo pa na Secretary Reyes, ito si Prime, alam
with
niya.
that, we have to close our forum dahil overtime na tayo. Pero, yung dalagdagan ko lang yung sinabi ng ating barkada, si Samino. Kasi yung sa Japan, although it's 1971, May. Pero, laging minamodify yon, ina-upgrade lagi yon, saka yung mga scientists sila, talagang araw-araw nag-aaral yan. Kaya there's a big difference. Although, tama yun, kung mabubuksan yung nuclear plants, malaking gas din. And at the same time, ay wala tayong pera. Number one yun. Wala tayong pera para uutang na naman tayo. So, siguro, kailangan maging practical tayo at this point in time. Just like me, I was supposed to go to Japan. Pero yung counterpart ko sa Japan, sa Tokyo, sabi na, don't go. Why? Meron silang radiation doon. Worrisome. Sila mismo hindi na alam kung yung kanilang pamilya may problema na. Kaya sabi niya, I believe you better don't go. Despite now, we need you here in Japan, in Tokyo. Kaya yung ibang meeting, ginawa saan? Sa Okinawa na. So, kailangan dito nag-aaral tayo mabuti, nag-iisip tayo kung ano yun. Hindi tayo kasi pwedeng puro banat na hindi natin nakikita kung ano talaga yung big picture ng problema. Kapareho din sa mga problema ng mga government agencies natin, nasa mga senatong at congressman ng problema Sila gumagawa ng mga policy, mga money-making scheme na tayo lahat ng pinapahirapan ito ng alokong ito. Last statement, Yusek Mansada.
Kahit pa paano, sana maintindihan din natin na ang DOE at ibang sangay ng gobyerno ay talagang sinisikap na magawa namin yung mandato namin. Pero meron tayo talagang constraints, no? May limit kung ano lang yung pwedeng gawin other than budget. Pero nagpapasalamat kami sa mga nagtanong kasi yun yung mga pagkakataon na ma-improve namin yung mga ginagawa namin. Makikita namin yung mga gap, kung ano pa yung hindi nagawa namin at kung nagawa na namin na hindi masyadong naintindihan, makapag-focus kami na para maipagpaliwanag. So, sana nakatulong ako na maging mas maliwanag yung isip nyo para dito. So, maraming salamat po.
Maliksi, di mapigil ang gaslaw, galaw-gaw, ang lahat ginagalaw, napakaharot at pakialam, galaw-gaw, kung tawagin siya'y ganyan, kang karot, na trumpong